He's talking to the church. That Greek word is used by Paul to talk about the church. It's used by Peter to talk about the church. It's used by John in his epistles to talk about believers. And the Lord is about to use it again here in just a couple of minutes, not in this video necessarily, but in the Olivet Discourse, where he says, I will send my angels out to gather the elect. That's the rapture of the church. He is talking to us. And this is a section of the Olivet Discourse that I owe you an apology, because I did not understand the depth of what is being said here. And that's changed in the last couple of weeks. I realized, oh my goodness, this is huge. And I have been hesitant to bring this teaching out. I've waited a few days. I was like, not because I'm confused about the teaching, it's because I know what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to show you something stunning, and most of you that come through here are going to treat it just like you treated this. When he showed this channel what that meant, he's talking about war in heaven, which the church will never admit to. Never. Please go out and try and find a prophecy teacher who will agree with that, because he won't or she won't, because it destroys their position and they know it. This could set you free from the deception of the church when it comes to end times prophecy. It was the second greatest day of my life when he showed us this. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. He says this each time in the Olivet Discourse, Matthew and Mark and in Luke, right before he says, then you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds with power and great glory. He's talking about he's coming at the conclusion of war in heaven, which means you cannot take his teaching and shove it at the end. And yet people trampled this under their feet. No, he's not talking to, I don't know what that is. And they're going to do the same thing with this teaching. And they're going to rely on an adage they've been taught to justify not listening to the Lord. We're not destined for wrath, they'll say. Because I'm telling you that he's telling us we need to be ready and we need to execute his commands before and during that day. And the response of the church is, I'm not destined for wrath. I have nothing to worry about. The Christians in the first century weren't destined for wrath either, but wrath was coming to Jerusalem and the people in Israel. And he was trying to get his people out because they're not destined for wrath. And he told them, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies and when you see the abomination of desolation, get out, because vengeance is coming, he says, inside the Olivet Discourse on those people. Wrath will be on those people. You, my followers, need to get out because they're not destined for wrath. You are not destined for wrath now in this century when he's about to show up. And once again, he's got the plan to get you out, to get you away from the wrath so you do not experience it. But you won't listen to him. The plan to get you safe so that you will not be caught up in God's wrath is in his teaching in the Olivet Discourse. If those people in the first century had said, I'm not destined for wrath, I'm not going anywhere, they would have been slaughtered or hauled off as a slave. Family destroyed because they didn't listen to the Lord. But the first century Christians didn't pull that nonsense. They actually listened to him and they got out. Eusebius, an early church writer, says they got out. They made it out. Now it's our turn. Just listen to him. He's got the plan. God says, you're not destined for my wrath. I've given the exit plan to my son, who will tell you, just follow him. Just follow him. And they won't, and you won't. Most of you, those of you that have turned to his teaching, please excuse me for a couple of minutes before I get to the new teaching that I want to bring you, because this has to be addressed. You'll trample what I'm about to say under your feet again. Oh, that's not for us. And you will not wake up and understand. We have not been given a choice to either listen to his teaching about his coming, his prophecy teaching, or not. The church has told you that's acceptable. They have dumbed down prophecy to where they will actually say, you can believe what you want. Let's just don't be divisive about it. This is doctrine of the church. It's too important not to take it seriously and to fight for it. People, I saw a comment, a guy said, "You seem angry." I am angry. Not in life in general. I'm an easygoing guy. If you knew me, my neighbors would be surprised to hear me scolding people in a YouTube video. They know me as, "Hey there, Stan. Hey, how you doing, Stan? Good, how are you? Good, hey, great. How's this weather going for you?" This is sickening to watch. I've been given like a ringside seat along with a number of other people on this channel. We're witnessing a train wreck about to happen about a minute and a half before it takes place. And there's nothing I can do about it. Because if you won't listen to him, you're not going to listen to me. So all I can ask you to do is wake up and do yourself a favor. Don't trample his teaching under your feet by throwing it to the end and disregarding it, saying it's not for the church. The sooner you wake up, the sooner you can help your family wake up. And now a very important, overlooked portion of the Olivet Discourse. Hang on to your hats. From Matthew's version of the Olivet Discourse, verse 22, "And if those days had not been cut short, comma." Those days he's referring to are the times of the Gentiles. He's just talked about the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. The old covenant has gone away. He's gotten the people in that area out by giving them the correct commands to leave and knowing when to do it and what to pray for and all of that. Now he's dealing with this era, and something important is being said here. He says, if I don't cut those days short, the times of the Gentiles, here's what would happen. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. A couple things we got to notice here. I've already discussed the elect part. That's us. He's talking about us. Something is coming. And because of its unique nature, he's got to cut the day short. He's going to stop it. The Father is going to say, bring it now, when he would prefer to drag it out so that he could get more and more people saved. But because this unusual thing is about to happen, he says, no, cut it short for the elect's sake. That's very important to remember. He's doing it for us. He's doing it for us. He's not doing it for the world. And he's not talking about genocide of the human race. He is talking about saved. That's an interesting Greek word. It has a little bit of flexibility. It's pronounced, I've learned this week, sozo. And it can mean saved, and it can mean saved like gospel saved, or it can mean rescue, or deliverance, or preserving. It's the verb form of salvation, basically. The word salvation comes from sozo. He's not talking about the eradication of human beings. Some of your translations will say flesh instead of human being, and that's fine. But understand that Greek word is leaning to human beings. That's why the ESV here just flat out says it. No human being would be saved if he hadn't cut it short. Our period, the period that we're in, he's about to cut it short because something very unusual is about to happen. Let me jump in here real quick. You don't have to guess what it is, okay? This is the mistake I made. I've already made that mistake. I was guessing. We don't have to guess. He's going to tell us, so just hang on to that. But he is not saying all flesh, all human beings would be destroyed. That's not the Greek word he uses. He's not saying there would be no one left alive. There would be annihilation. There are plenty of Greek words he could have used here. He does not use those. Remember, right before he comes, the world is going about its business. That doesn't mean there's going to be peace and tranquility in the world, but they're eating and drinking, they're marrying, giving marriages. They aren't on the brink of annihilation. That's not what's going on here. Satan is bringing the tribulation in the era we live in. He has not been given the authority to wipe us out, but he has been given the authority to bring wars and famines and pestilence and deception. He has full reign to deceive this planet, this world, as much as he wants and as much as he can. This is an important teaching, folks. We have overlooked this because the church, once again, picks this up and sticks it at the very end. And their remarks, as I look to see what they say in their commentaries, well, the 7-year tribulation is going to get so bad that if he didn't cut that short, nobody would be left alive. That is not what he is saying at all. That is, once again, false. It is complete misinterpretation of what is going on here. Something is coming. Now, we're going to come back to what does he mean no human being would be saved. We'll come to that after we see what he is talking about, and it's stunning. And I've missed this my entire Christian life, which only, goes back to 2007, but still. Now I realize what he's talking about, and what helped me to see that this verse is connected to the following verses. The next Greek word is then. Then in the Greek means then, at that time. There's no flexibility with that word, at that time. Then, where he's going to cut it short. Then, at that time. If anyone says to you, look, here's the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. Folks, we have never, ever seen anything like this. That's what he's saying. He has said earlier on in the Olivet Discourse, there will be false teachers and false Christs come. That's the dime a dozen variety. They're going to come and go. He says, these are so persuasive that the Father is going to cut the time short for our sake, because these have something the other ones don't have. They're going to do great signs and wonders. That Greek word for great is mega. He didn't say just signs and wonders, great signs and wonders. And if he let it continue on, even the elect would go, that's our Lord. He's not worried about the elect abandoning Christ. He's worried about them getting fooled that this is the coming. This is the coming. I guess we didn't fully understand it, but look, there he is, and it's numerous. It's Christs and false prophets and false Christs. Pseudo-Christ is what the Greek is saying. What is going to happen? It's something unlike anything we've ever seen. This has never happened before because he's never shortened the days. He's never called a halt to it. He has always allowed the run-of-the-mill false prophets and false Christ to do their thing. He didn't stop it when Joseph Smith came along and led a bunch of people to Utah. He didn't stop it when Sun Myung Moon came along and said he's the return of Christ. He let that play out because there was no danger the church in total would go en masse, go and follow that person. We didn't, and we were never in danger of doing that. It's going to be a bunch of foolish people here and there that would follow that. He wasn't worried about the elect. He let that play out. He's not letting this play out. This is something we have to be ready for. And he is spending an inordinate amount of time inside the Olivet Discourse discussing this very thing at the very end. He's going to cut it short at the very end because something unusual that we have never seen before shows up. Do I know what it is? No. We'll talk about some possibilities here in a second, but this is unique to our time. This is Satan attempting to upstage the Lord's coming. And the Father is saying, you crossed the line. I'm not going to allow it. You're crossing the line. Now you are crossing the line because even my people will think this is my son's return when they see it, because it's going to be so confusing to us. This is something we've never seen before. And then the Lord does something really amazing inside the Olivet Discourse. He stops for a second and he underlines it. See, I have told you beforehand. What he is saying there is, listen, I'm not going to let this surprise you, because if you don't know what's coming, you are going to be surprised. You aren't going to be able to make sense of it all. It's going to be confusing. In Mark, he says, be on guard. Take heed. He's warning us. He's underscoring this. And then he does something he just flat out doesn't do anywhere else in the Olivet Discourse. He repeats himself and says, after he says, see, I have told you beforehand. So, once again, if they say to you, look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. He's not going to be outside. If they say, look, he's in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. He's saying, if they say to you, look, he's inside somewhere on planet Earth, or he's somewhere outside on Earth, don't go. Because when I show up, I'm going to be in the air and I'm not touching down. So if you're looking for somebody here on earth, it won't be me, but it's certainly going to look like it is to a lot of my elect. And so he's warning us again, don't go after them. The delicious irony here is while this incredible fraud is taking place, claiming to be the Christ, whether it's Christ consciousness or Christ himself, whatever it is, he shows up in the sky, in the heavens. And the whole world runs in panic. They thought the real one had shown up. No, the real one is going to, that's how the Father is going to cut this short. Go. And his Son shows up in the air. And that's why we're told, don't follow anyone down here. But you're going to wanna if you're not paying attention to what he is saying. Lightning shines from east to west. The vultures gather over a corpse in the air. He says, that's the difference. I'll be in the air. They will be down here. What is he talking about? Because there are multiple pseudo-Christs, multiple false prophets, probably like false John the Baptist and so forth. Very persuasive stuff that we've never seen before. What's going on? Is it somehow an extension of AI? Is it an extension of UFOs that never seem to go away? The New Age movement is actually out there saying the ascended masters are due to come and walk the earth again. Is that what it is? I do not know. But it is going to be spectacular. And here's the good news. When you see it, it's about over. It's about over. Don't go chasing after him. He's about to stop it. And the real deal, the true anointed one, will be in the air. And that's the good news about this. But the church is not ready for this because they're not listening to him. Now let's go back to where he said, if he hadn't cut those days short, no human being would be saved. Let's go to Hebrews 9:28 because I think this ties it together. So Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. In the Greek, save, that's not what it says. It says salvation. Save that we looked at, sozo, is the verb form. Salvation is the noun form, but the noun form is derived from sozo. So it's essentially the same thing, but I just wanted to point that out. What I think he's saying here, there won't be anybody waiting for him if he lets it play out. Eventually, all Christians will think he's here. And they're not going to be waiting for the true Son of God. So he cuts it short before his people get completely fooled and fall in line with this amazing end-time deception, the likes of which we have never seen before. When you look at the amount of time he spent on this event that will happen right before he shows up, it's amazing. He's serious about it. The church is looking away from this teaching. Do not trample this teaching under your feet. Do not tell your fellow brothers and sisters this isn't for us. If you disagree with something I said and you're listening to him, that's fine. That's iron sharpening iron. Let's get this figured out correctly. I'm fine with that. But I'm not going to argue this with people who are not listening to him. Your opinion means nothing to me at this point. Repent. Turn back to his teaching. The church needs to get ready for the great delusion. And do you understand what's really happening here at the end? God is allowing this to take place for a few moments because it's going to reveal who's listening to his son and who wasn't. Because he just told you what to do if you're listening. Don't go after them. But if you're not listening, this deception is liable to catch you sleeping, because that's what the church is doing. And it's an awful thing to contemplate.